Hey everyone, welcome back to my Spiel des Jahres series. This is the third video and I'm exploring my second game of the 3 nominees for Kennerspiel des Jahres, that's the Expert or Connoisseur games. The first one of that series was my previous video where I covered The Crew, the quest for Planet 9. In this video, I'm going to cover Cartographers. It's going to be a brief review and then of course my experience playing the game. Cartographers takes place over 4 rounds in which there are very specific scoring opportunities. And as each round goes by, players are drawing or sketching particular shapes of specific terrain onto a grid sheet that has mountains and it has ruins and it has blank spaces. And so what players are trying to do is win the most points based on that particular game's victory point conditions, which changes every single game. I like that. There are a lot of variable, interchangeable cards that makes Cartographers very replayable. The first set of cards that is interchangeable are these scoring cards. So what you do is you have 4 sets of scoring cards and you shuffle them and you draw 1 from each set. And that's going to be how you score. You place those under the cards A, B, C, and D. And then what you do is you score 2 of those categories each round of the game. So in the first round, you're scoring A and B, then B and C, then C and D, and lastly, D and A. So you're coming back around to that first round scoring requirement. So every single scorecard gets scored twice, but at different points in the game, which really asks for players to strategize where they're putting their shapes and their terrain into their map and at what time, because that's the key. You only score each card twice and at very specific times in the game. I think Cartographers is a really smart, clean game, and as I've mentioned, it's very replayable. There's a really great moment for player interaction throughout the game when the ambush card is drawn, as players are drawing to put tiles into their map. Now, what happens when that card is drawn is you exchange your player board, your actual grid, with another player at the table, and you draw in the monsters onto their board, essentially messing up their strategy or their plan, which really asks you to respond to that addition to their grid, because squares that are around the monster at the end of the round are going to be negative points. So if you don't surround those monsters with terrain, you're really losing out on points. And the other player might do a better job of placing the monsters into your grid than you do, and maybe they surround their monster. So you really got to be careful about where those monsters are going. And that's fun. Plus somebody else gets to draw on your grid, and if you're me, the other person gets really crappy drawings because I'm terrible at drawing and my kobolds look ridiculous and my houses look like really skinny arrows. I'll show you my finished player board and you judge for yourself, but it's okay if you judge harshly. This game is very clean, it's straightforward, and easily playable within 30 to 45 minutes, even if it's your first play. Now, mentioning first plays, I've played this game twice now. The first time I played a 3-player game at BGG Con in November, and I had a terrible experience. It was just stinky. And I think it was just because I do have a grid visual shape deficit. That's spatial awareness is definitely low on my intelligence track, and so I work hard to overcome that. But sometimes I just can't see things or I forget rules. And so in my first game, I think I was really worried about competing and I was worried about doing well, and I just continually did worse and worse and worse. And so I wasn't planning for the rounds properly, for the scoring rounds. And so in my second game, I think I was a little bit more relaxed. I knew what was going on, I knew what was going to happen, and I planned a little bit better, but the person I played with also helped me see things that I was kind of forgetting. And he would remind me, oh, if you place that against the wall, against the side, you're not going to be able to score that because that's what the rule says on the scoring card. And so I was kind of reminded a couple times of things, and I avoided those mistakes early on that kind of tank your game. So just take your time, be aware of what the rules are, what that particular scoring requirement is, and you'll do just fine. I have to say my second game was much more enjoyable, pleasurable, and I did better. If that helps you understand Cartographers a little bit better, I hope so. That's just my experience with it. I definitely would play it again. I would share this with people. I think it's fun, and it's definitely a step up from that basic roll and write or flip and write, where you have a game like Second Chance. Second Chance is really simple. You flip a card, you draw the shape in your space, and you're done. Well, in Cartographers, there's so much more going on with the variability of what cards are drawn, what terrain is drawn, what the point cards say, what the requirements are, and in the timing that they're scored. It's a complex game that is quite clean and enjoyable. The theme is really wonderful too. So if you enjoy that kind of fantasy theme, jump right into Cartographers. Thanks for watching, and definitely check out my final video in the series for Kennerspiel des Jahres, the Expert Connoisseur Game of the Year. That is King's Dilemma coming up next.